Our eyes were full of dreams, a prayer of St. G. In the morning sun of the world, all that was came to be, all that was not. Now past so many centuries, we question who we are. What we are doing is not done completely in vain. Believe we must, or else ne'er come home again. The Peri of the Persians, too, was torn from here, this paradise. Not mentioned he, for all the world is of pairs, even opposites, and he had none. His salvation came, admittance back to Eden, when in his cupped hand he brought there one tear shed, repented of an old sinner who has seen a child praying. There was no child, there was only Adam, there was Eve. His pair was of this dreameress, a blushing innocent, untainted by this drama of the garden. Some thought of yours, Lord, to send new seed into the breach of promise. For it was a promised land and true, and shall there be another? They were in love, for Adam at Eve's grave thought in himself, wheresoever she was, there was Eden. And he, the Peri which stood disconsolate at the gate, had no Eve, had no mate, yet his was of the seed to come. For now we know there were three gardens, the garden of God, the garden of the Son, Gethsemane's sorrow, and then the garden of the empty tomb, where stood the Spirit of the living God to say, He is not here, He is risen as He said. For are there not three events as one, the falling man, the atoning one in sorrow, and then the death, the resurrection, and ascension? What bitter fruit was there? Our lips were for each other, our eyes were full of dreams, and nothing did we know of loss. The world was of eternal spring. To remember her body, so brave, so free, the scent of my dreamer is sleeping by me. Here mankind's root was innocent, who sang its happy state. There were fruit and never-ending spring. Still all the world is Eden, only that our eyes see dimly blushed with shame. One was sent out, perhaps not the proper promised seed. He dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden, and there continued wickedness such as we now contend, violence and robbery, weights and measures, property lines and fortified cities, transforming culture from innocence into craftiness and deceit. And Nod was away from your face, outside the face of God, a land of trembling as forsaking you. If now we think it to be mythical, only look, it is as real as this hour. There was this seventh heaven, shrouded in the curtain of your majesty. There was this also darkened place where men which had walked blameless fled to a passionless hatred of each other and of God. Perhaps the fallen Eden was a failure to give thanks. Thus paradise was lost to ingratitude. Across this margin of despair still stood demi-paradise, for there was promise there. God still walks in Eden between the ancient trees, where youth and love went wading through the primrose pools. Of goodliest trees and loaden with fairest fruit, and gay enameled colors mixed all lay about, while hand in hand with wandering steps and slow through Eden took their solitary way. You left off to speak to us directly. We caught their sickness and plunged down. And where had been the sound of you walking within the cool of day was now a fearsome silence, hung over some far and fiery place. But you will make our wilderness like Eden, your promises assured. 4 rivers still are there to carry your salvation. And where we were radiant over the bounty of the Lord, now see larger things, your mercy of compassion. and from whose loins we sprang when the birds of Eden sang. Still now we hear the sweeter strain. This day you shall be with me in paradise. A sign of still existing. And this the sign we bring back to you before the darkness fall, that spring is risen again, that life is risen again, and love is Lord of all. Amen.